Okay, thank you, Hugo. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Arnau Gifreu, and I would like to introduce myself. I'm a lecturer, researcher, and producer in the audiovisual and multimedia field. And the title of my research is The Interactive Documentary, a Proposed Model of Analysis. The purpose of this presentation is to explore some topics about the convergence between the fields of audiovisual documentary and the online interactive documentary. This research aims to examine how new digital technologies transform the logic of creation and production of conventional audiovisual documentary by presenting a first state of affairs on the lines of convergence between the two areas described, discussing a proposed definition, taxonomy, and characterization of a new interactive genre, and working on a possible analysis model about interactive documentary. Although the documentary history started half a century before the digital media one, both processes have progressed, and nowadays they have reached a very interesting converging point. Towards the end of the 20th century, and especially at the beginning of the 21st, both genres have gone mostly in separate ways, have passed their own tests, and have survived in a changing environment and have reached a noteworthy maturation. From this first contact, each genre adopts a series of properties and characteristics typical of the other genre. In some ways, a fusion begins from the mutual attraction. The documentary genre contributes with several modes of representation reality, and digital media one contributes with new navigation and interacting modes. These modes can be found in interactive applications, such as supports to display and navigate. On one hand, the offline media, and on the other, the par excellence, online media, the net or internet. But we cannot forget other types of applications that are suitable for documentary exhibitions, such as installations or mobile devices. This setting has favored the development of different formats and the creation of new genres, such as interactive documentary, which is a new genre result of a double hybrid between the audiovisual documentary genre, interaction, interactive digital media, and between information, content, and entertainment, interactive interfaces. So, in the next slide, you can see the objectives of the main research. So, as you can see, the main objective of this study is to analyze the state of development of interactive documentary and debate the desirability of adopting a new model. But the aim of this research is to describe, classify, and analyze interactive online documentary applications. To do that, I have created my own methodology. It's a hard methodology to create, but the main methodology is based on the comparative study of the evolution of the two fields of work, the conventional documentary and the interactive digital media, to reach and explore the major theoretical and applied lines of convergence between the two areas. The reading and analysis of theoretical work in both areas form the methodological basis for starting the central research. Regarding the documentary, as you can see in the left part of this slide, the analysis focused on the works of the three of the most important authors of this field, such as Eric Barnau, Richard Barsham, and Bill Nichols. As digital media concern, the analysis is based on the theoretical concepts of narrative and interactive multimedia culture by authors like Lev Manovich, Janet Murray, George Pilando, Raymond Kurzweil, Marshall McLuhan, and Ted Nelson. But we have had particular regard to innovative writers of our surroundings. Among them, we highlight Xavier Berenguer, Ignasi Ribas, Lluís Codina, and Carlos Alberto Scolari from Universitat Pompeu Fabra, and Hugo Pardo from Universitat de Vic. Mixing these two aspects of documentary genre and digital media, we arrive at the end to the interactive documentary. We have another type of authors like Timothy Garran, Lorena Davenport, and Mike Murdoch. And at the end, I create 4 separate parts, you can see. So because I want to emphasize that my framework is really hard to do, because I had to develop and to research some different areas that have lots of things in common. So this analysis is difficult in that way. To establish this new genre categorization, we need conditions. And what are these conditions to consider a piece or a work as an interactive documentary? I am developing a huge database where at the end we will locate and order each document, and there are 3 main conditions that are the next. The first, the system expects a physical response that leads to a conscious choice by the interactor. Second one, the document must show a desire for representation of reality with the intention of documenting a situation in a particular way that characterizes the documentary part. And the end, to be considered a proper interactive documentary, it must include at least one form of navigation or interaction that characterizes the digital interactive parse. One of the most important contributions to my research is the model of analysis that can serve in non-interactive media or non-interactive or non-digital or non-interactive fiction, but as well to interactive fiction because it can serve the both areas. So I divided in 4 main categories, A, B, C, D. As you can see, we have, I'm sorry, but my graphs and my figures are not translated in Catalan into English. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough time to do, but I present in Catalan. I will introduce the main points to you. We have 4 main categories. A, organization and structure of the interactive. B, integration between content and navigation. C, modes of representation reality. And D, modes of navigation and interaction. Each category has its own subcategories and the right indicators to do that. When I will defend my complete PhD, I will offer to you this complete model of analysis. Another important contribution is that I detected some navigation modalities because we have to differentiate between navigation and interaction. And navigation is to visit some place, somewhere, and interaction is to make some change or affecting the system in the way we can make a brand or we can make a mark in the system. In base of that differentiation, that basic differentiation, I detected 10 basic navigation modalities: divided, time, spatial, testimonial, branched, hypertextual, preferential, audiovisual, sound, and immersive, and with submodalities and its own features. And regarding to interaction modalities, I detect generative interaction mode and 2.0 applications interaction mode. Every interactive documentary or products that respond to the non-interactive fiction, like essays, like reports, like documentaries, has inside different class of interaction and navigation modalities. You can see some features, but I repeat, it's in Catalan, and I will show you a little bit of some examples of iDocs. Maybe the first one, it was produced in 2003 in the framework of the Master in Digital Arts of this university, where I studied this master, and a group of people made Bicinova. That was one of the embryonic iDocs. We have Becoming Human of 2000, is about the States, and we have 2 enterprises that more or less in France, Upian, and in Canada, the National Film Board of Canada, that produce a lot. The last one is Out My Window. I will not have enough time to show you, but I recommend to see on the web, Out My Window High Rise. It's a iDoc about Katrina Zizek, about 80,000 euros. It's a good budget for an iDoc. So you can see some examples, you can see some graphs and some pictures about, for example, the Guernica Painting of War. That was an iDoc created by Corporació Catalana de Televisió Interactiva and Televisió of Catalonia Broadcasting. And we can see the main desktop and the metaphor, and we can divide into 4 main zones, and the higher aspect is that mix 4 parts, and that mix navigation and interaction modes. As you can see, we have the history, the mainly workers of that piece of art, the symbol, another one. We produced at Universitat de Vic last year, 2010, an iDoc that's called Metamental Multimedia. That's another type of this example, is an online iDoc, and it's divided into 4 parts, but we are optimizing for the web. So, my proposal of taxonomy and categorization about this genre is divided into 4 parts. In the base, we have the offline interactive documentary, such as video disc, CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, or closed database. More higher, we have online interactive documentary, what French people call web documentary, or online iDoc. In the 3rd position, we could find interactive documentary installation that need a physical space to develop. And finally, we have documentary for mobile devices, such as iPad, iPhone, or Android. And in the case of online iDocs, for web docs, only for online interactive documentary, I have developed as well my proposal of categorization that divides into 4 parts in order to be more closely or more openless, or in order to like a human-computer interaction group like DVD or the support that's behind. I detected offline interactive documentary, like supports with DVD, CBD, online linear documentary for web, interactive documentary, web mobile, and generative interactive documentary that is a new form, a new species that it's upcoming now. So, My proposal of definition is that we consider iDocs or interactive documentary such as interactive online-offline applications carried out with the intention of representing reality with their own mechanisms, which we will call navigation and interaction modalities, depending on the grade of participation that is required. The interactive documentaries try both to represent and to interact with reality, for which a series of techniques or methods must be considered and used, navigation and interaction modalities, which become, in this new way of communication, the key element to achieve the documentary objective. I will close my speech with the conclusions of this work of research. So, we cannot consider the interactive documentary as a mere evolution of documentary films. The forms of representation cannot be considered sufficient indicators to analyze the new genus, but new resulting forms of navigation and interaction. The intrinsic nature of conventional documentary suffers significant changes since the advent of this new documentary form, derived from the actual new technological scenario, because the author cannot be expected to create a single narrative program, closed and subjective, and must assume that somehow they will lose control of their work, due to the new situation often goes against their interests. The construction of the narrative and the discursive order moves from a linear sequential scheme to a new stage characterized by different approaches, nodes, and endpoints. And finally, the interactor is configured as a contributor of content created by the author. And here, maybe we can link with the main idea of Marshall McLuhan about the co-producer, about the figure of the co-producer. No? The new genre and the new methods of navigation and interaction include generic features resulting from the user. The classic spectator, now in this iDocs interactor, participant, and contributor, becomes the creator of a personal documentary themselves because it directs the navigation, control, the order of speech, and uses the great power that enables interaction. That's the defining characteristic. The genus as such does not evolve in a short term, so it is difficult to establish and acquire a role as a new form of interactive nonfiction. And a tendency to prevent this explosion may be related to consumption and its individuals. The mental and physical effort that the interactor has to put up with in a documentary application is much greater than in a traditional viewing. And maybe this could be one cause that genre is not coming at this time. The two forms of media can live and exist without the emergence of a marginalization or disappearance of another. So, filmmakers have little incentives to turn a movie into an interactive project, as doing it would limit its distribution to the internet, giving up control over authorship and reduce the impact of the film due to the experience of the small screen. A non-linear narrative is seen a problem within the traditional documentary wall, but in this new genre is considered a big opportunity. So, this kind of narrative allow audiovisual projects to provide elements to complement and enrich it, and by combining the power of the film to provide a perspective and the ability to interact in order to improve the participation of the users with the material, the interactive documentary film can offer more significant documentaries. And the last idea is large, you can read, but I will explain to you. It's mixed by idea linked to the education. Because one of the essential premises of the traditional documentary, the documentary genre, is the desire to organize a story that is both informative and entertaining. And in this sense, the interactive format should continue with the tradition of trying to offer similar experience that mix a recreational entertainment proposal with an educational one, knowledge, in the most efficient, original, and attractive possible way. I want to show my hypothesis, but I don't have enough time. Maybe I have a couple of minutes. Hugo? Yeah, I have a couple of minutes. Maybe I can show you a little bit of out my window, only maybe the start, only maybe the introduction, to make you an idea of what is a good, in the perfect iDoc. So I will finish with that. I will pass fast. And you can here have my contact. If you want to contact with me, we can talk after the show. So I will show you. I have to change my computer because to have access to internet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but okay, no, I can post that here. Okay. This project have won all the prizes, the Emmy Awards, and it's about National Film Board of Canada. It's out my window. It's produced by the chair of High Rise. High Rise is about, it's a department of the National Film Board of Canada. And, well, I was in IDFA. The IDFA of Documentary Film of Amsterdam was the premiere. And as you can see, it's the first IDOC that have the 80,000 euros budget. Yeah? So it's really expensive. There's a lot of money outside, so we can enter. And it's about 12 surroundings around the world, and you can explore all the surroundings, but it mixes a lot of different techniques like documentary traditional production. We have the metaphor here, and as we can see, the metaphor is a building of the different floors in different countries. So I can visit every place. I can go, for example, I go to Amsterdam now. I think that's Amsterdam, okay? And it's interesting the chroma key and the superposing the different parts. So I can navigate from different parts, and as you can see, we have different parts to navigate. For example, I can navigate through the whole wall, so it's a spatial navigate form, through spaces, different parts of the block, and through faces as well, through the different persons. So I can visit, and as well they have developed a 360 documentary production, so you can go inside the video and you can navigate the video with your mouse, inside going in 360 degrees. So, well, as you can see, it's a very example. It's a very interesting study case. It's another case of a speech, so it's another day. Maybe next year I will return and to try. And I recommend you to look to that and to look to Guernica work painting. It's our Catalan example here in Catalonia. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Arnau. Arnau has a lot of experiences. Maybe if you are interested in multimedia documentary, Arnau have a lot of experiences around the world. It's very, very interesting.